Hi, my name is Taline, and if there was ever an Olympic event for getting injured, I would probably hold the record for the most gold medals. Ever. Ask anyone who knows me. Seriously, the amount of money spent on K-tape alone can probably single-handedly solve world hunger. Well, not really, but it's bad enough that I got a certificate for it from my dance teacher at a team dinner. It was guess the person style, and everyone, including the parents, instantly pointed at me. For me, this battle with injury started on the 27th of November, 2023. Let me set the scene for you. It was the day before one of the biggest competitions in the Irish dance world, the European and Asian Championships. I was very excited, as it was the first year I thought I had an actual chance to qualify for the World Championships. Long story short, I decided that it would be a good idea to practice at night, and I ended up not being able to walk and in a wheelchair. 1 minute I was dancing, and the next I was on the floor. My mind instantly went into panic mode, as I was scared that I wouldn't be able to compete the next day. But I was determined. Even though I couldn't walk, I was going to try my best. So in the morning, my friend's mom taped my foot, I went down in my wheelchair, and I attempted all of my rounds. I mean, they were quite bad, and I shed a few tears. But still, I was happy that I did something. Now, this feeling did not last for very long, and I wasn't able to dance until March or April of 2024. After a few classes back, I slipped again. Except this time, I didn't take a long break. I convinced myself that I was fine, and that it was just a coincidence that it happened again. Well, guess what? It wasn't. It happened again and again and again. It got so bad to the point that every time I went to training, I came back home limping. Whether it be my right or my left ankle, I was always in pain. In summer, I had had enough, and I saw a physiotherapist. For 2 months after that, I was fine, until the week before the 2024 qualifiers. I think you can guess what happened. I learned to expect the falls, so I wasn't fazed, until I stood up and realized that I could not walk. That's when the panic set in. So I went home, cried, then went to the hospital to check it out. Then I went back home and cried again. I told myself that it's fine, and that as long as I rest, I will still be able to dance. So that's what I did. On the day of, I didn't have any ankle complications, and I did much better than I did the year before. But that's the point. If you're anything like me, you've been told to rest. You've been told to stretch. You've been told maybe you should just take it easy. But here's the thing. Athletes don't do taking it easy. We push through. We train harder. We want to do better than we did before. And this is exactly how we end up in the cycle of injury after injury. So how do we break out of it? How do we, as athletes, stop getting injured while still doing what we love? It comes down to a few rules I made for myself throughout my journey. Number 1, listen to your pain. Pain isn't just an inconvenience. It's your body's way of sending you a message. Too often, we brush it off, convincing ourselves that if we just push through, it'll go away. But ignoring pain does not make it disappear. It makes it worse. There's a difference between discomfort from hard training and pain that signals an injury. Learning to recognize the difference is crucial. I'm not saying go and have it checked out every single time, but once it starts happening more often, then you'll start understanding what your body can take. Addressing pain early through rest, rehab, or adjustments in training can make the difference between a short recovery and a long-term injury that will take you out of the sport you love. Which brings me to my next point. Number 2, find what works for you. Everyone's body is different, and everyone has different strengths, weaknesses, and limits. What works for one athlete might not work for another. Some people thrive on intense strength training, while others need more mobility work. Some recover quickly with ice baths, while others need more active recovery, like yoga or physiotherapy. For me personally, I would just rest for a while and then go back to normal. I tried physiotherapy, but it wasn't for me. I was given exercises to do, and I knew that I would end up forgetting about them, which I did, so it didn't really work out. I found out that my body just needs rest. I also found out that the rice method does not work, at least not for me. So I tend to just ice, wrap, and Tiger Balm my foot. Tiger Balm is genius. It has genuinely saved my life. The key is to listen to your body and experiment with different recovery and training techniques until you find the mix that works for you. Don't just follow generic advice. Customize your approach based on what helps you perform at your best. Number 3, don't overthink. This might sound counterintuitive, but the more we obsess over avoiding injury, the more we end up getting hurt. I know, it sounds ridiculous, but think about it. When you're constantly worried about getting injured again, you're not fully focused on what you're doing. You're dancing scared. You're playing scared. And fear is a distraction. Instead of focusing on the fear of getting injured, focus on your technique. Focus on your alignment, your breathing. Stay present in what you're doing instead of focusing on what might go wrong. This doesn't mean ignoring the risk. It just means not letting it control you. If you know what you're doing, trust your body to handle it. Not only does this mentality apply to injuries and dance, it applies to every other aspect of your life. Think about it. How often do we hold ourselves back because we're too busy worrying about what can go wrong? We don't speak up in class because we're scared that we're going to sound stupid. We don't apply for an opportunity because we're scared of rejection. We don't try new things because we're terrified of failing. And while we're busy holding ourselves back, life keeps moving forward. Opportunities pass up, moments slip away, and we're left standing still, paralyzed by our own fear of messing up. But what if, instead of focusing on what could go wrong, we focused our energy on what could go right? And here's the thing. The worst that can happen usually isn't as bad as we think it is. Sure, you might mess up. You might get rejected. You might fall flat on your face, literally or figuratively. But that's not life. That's not failure. That's life. And life is messy, unpredictable, and full of things that don't go as planned. And these failures, they teach you more than any success ever could. Every time I fell, I learned something. I learned how to get back up. I learned what my body could handle. I learned how to keep going even though I was scared. And every time you try something outside of your comfort zone, you're building that same kind of resilience. Just as a baby learns to walk and falls over and over again, we learn to navigate life by stumbling, by losing our balance, by hitting the ground harder than we expect. But the baby doesn't stay down. They get back up. They try again. They're not afraid because they haven't learned how to be afraid yet. They're only focused on taking that next step, no matter how wobbly it might be. So yes, this talk started as a story about injury, but it's really about more than that. It's about learning to listen to yourself, to trust yourself, to do things your way, even when everyone else is telling you to do it theirs. It's about pushing through the pain, but not at the expense of your well-being. It's about falling, getting back up, and doing it all over again. Not because you're unbreakable, but because you're willing to keep going, even when you're not. And it's about remembering that the fall doesn't define you. The comeback does. Thank you.